It doesn't seem to be what happened.
Yeah, and it's very windy. You are on your balcony. How many stories up are you?
7.
7 stories. Okay, very windy, but you said you have seen fireworks displays there before. Again, for people just joining us, that's taped of the explosion of that building to the right. Live Skype images to the left there with Bruce Shapansky. You've seen it much windier before, and they still had the fireworks display. Clearly, this is different because you have the Address Hotel that's on fire, but you don't believe that weather would change the dynamics here.
No, as you can see, there's another explosion that just took place.
All right, another explosion of that building. All right, let me bring in Diana Loesch. Bruce, stick around with me. You're doing a great job. You're really bringing us there. We really appreciate it. Diana Loesch also heard explosions earlier. So, Diana, what's your vantage point? Describe where you are, what you've seen along the way.
Sure. I've been watching the fire since it started, and we just heard a second massive explosion, and it looks like what's happening, that massive explosion was that was the balcony falling, and as Bruce described, the fire is clockwise, but now it's going into the Dubai Mall. My vantage point is I live in Al Manzal, which is right across the street, which is a small business district, also residential. The fire seems more contained, but we're hearing large explosions as it burns down into the courtyard as well as into the Dubai Mall as well. There's just another massive explosion, which I'm sure you just heard.
Yeah, and Diana, we could hear it and we could see it from 2 different vantage points. I think just within the past 30 minutes, this may be explosion number 4 that we've been witnessing here. Again, we're now 8 minutes away from what officials say will still be an extraordinary fireworks display at the Burj Khalifa, which is just across the lake here from the Address Hotel and Residence, which is burning. Amazingly, Diana, we're told from officials that they have reports of 14 injuries. Our Becky Anderson reported earlier that they mostly appear to be minor injuries. We saw a video of what appeared to be evacuations in a very calm manner. It seems as though people, I guess these tall buildings, they have to have a number of drills on a regular basis. We talked to Bruce about that earlier. It seems as though when things like this happen, and this is a very unique set of circumstances, it seems as though the fact that people have been very calm has assisted in a great way.
Yes, I would agree to that because I went on the street earlier around 6 p.m. and just to check out what was happening. And the government here is very fluid, and they're very good about having, everything in order. They've been setting up for these fireworks for about almost 2 weeks. So there's a lot of places that you can go for first aid, for any kind of assistance. So I think in this way, people have been able to be ushered out very easily. Everyone's complying, and it's quite tragic. I mean, it's a part of the neighborhood. But people are very respectful, and everything's flowing as it should be in terms of, triaging massive amounts of people out of the downtown area.
Yeah. Diane, I just want to remind people where we are here. We're just over 5 minutes away from what is scheduled to be a pretty sizable fireworks display across the waterway at the Burj Khalifa Hotel. It's an extraordinary display, more than 1.6 tons of fireworks that is expected to be carried out, according to officials, all the while across the waterway here at the Address Hotel and Residence. It is on fire. Just in the course of the last 20 minutes or so, we have heard, Diana, you've heard it, we've seen it, the explosions, and I'm using that term loosely. It may be, combustion. It could be, as our guest, Bruce Shapansky, was thinking, perhaps, from the kitchens, the restaurants at the hotel, but we know there have been bursts of flames right there at that tower, which is 63 stories tall, and it is fully engulfed. And we are watching it live via Skype. You're seeing a few different images, all the while in just now, exactly 5 minutes from now, that tremendous fireworks display is expected to take place, according to officials, still at the world's tallest building, right there on the right-hand side of your screen. So Kim Kalita is a CNN producer. She is actually at that hotel now. So Kim, tell us what you are seeing, hearing, experiencing, what?
So my vantage point is the hotel is in front of me, the Burj Khalifa, the world's tallest tower, to the right of me, and about 1 million revelers to the left of me, waiting in about 4 minutes for the largest fireworks display. The irony is that the smoke billowing from the hotel, flames that are quite visible, as Diana had mentioned, she is on the opposite side of the lake from me. And I'm not quite sure that people really know what's going on. I think they're waiting here for a fireworks display, which officials have told me that is going to happen.
And these are, what a contrast in these images that we're seeing. We see this beautiful building, the Burj, on the right, a close-up view of the clock on the exterior. If people can recall, in previous New Year's, you're going to see fireworks, if it does indeed go off, shoot from the sides of the building. To the left, you're seeing a Skype view, and you're seeing Bruce Chapansky, who has been with us for the last hour, doing an extraordinary view of explaining what he's seeing from his 7th floor apartment balcony. You see the flames there at the Address Hotel. We've seen the combustion, bursts of flames. And then, Kim, you were describing that people are rather confused. They're not really sure what they're waiting for, if indeed it's going to happen.
Because I'm looking straight out to the Address Hotel, and about 3/4 away, there are visible flames.
Yeah.
And smoke billowing. And to the left of me, as I said, is from what officials told me, about 1 million people waiting to see this fireworks display in now less than 3 minutes onto the world's tallest tower. And I don't think they quite sure know what's going on. There's a lot of police activity, as you can imagine, a lot of security on the ground here. But this is normally quite a secure area during this time of year, and in particular when the fireworks display goes on during the New Year's Eve.
Again, if you all are just now joining us, I'm Frederica Whitfield here in Atlanta. I've got CNN producer Kim Kalita with us, who is there in Dubai, and Bruce Chapansky, who's providing this incredible Skype vantage point to the left of your screen of the Address Hotel in downtown Dubai that is fully engulfed in flames, while on the right side you're seeing anticipation of the 1 million or so people who have turned out in downtown Dubai to look at the world's tallest building on the right side of your screen, where it is centered by that incredible clock. On the side of that building, from top to bottom, will be fireworks. It's one of the most extraordinary New Year celebration fireworks displays in the world. Dubai is very proud of it. Officials have said, even while this fire is underway at the Address Hotel, that's what it's called, the Address Hotel in downtown Dubai, the show will still go on. And you heard our producer there, Kim, describe that people are kind of stoic, not quite sure what to expect. Now 2 minutes and counting. So, Kim, are people mostly quiet? Are they talking amongst themselves?
Now, from the vantage point that we're at, flames are extremely visible. And people have now turned to that and are looking at that. They're looking at the visible flames, which are shockingly now almost a quarter of a way left of the building, actually. No eyes are on the Burj Khalifa right now. All eyes are on the flames. And it's shocking to see this happening.
It is shocking to see, and here we are thousands of miles away, and it's shocking to everyone at home, too, because this is an active fire. Amazingly, Dubai officials have said that 14 have been injured. Again, we're seeing what appear to be some kind of pulsating light there on the left of the screen. Not quite sure what that means. Our Becky Anderson was describing that they appear to be minor injuries. And now on the right-hand side of the screen, you're now seeing, are people holding glow sticks? Is that part of like a light show underway at the Burj Park, where upwards of 100,000 people, I understand, could be converging for this fireworks display? And we're now 30 seconds away from that countdown, by the way, Kim.
Yeah, we're out here. Many people, in today's light of time are doing, video from their own phones, So that's kind of what you're probably seeing instead of glow sticks, is people's telephones up, and a lot of people getting pictures of these flames, which are, from our vantage point, extremely visible. Again, it's off the water from where Diana is, and literally with the Burj Khalifa to the right-hand side.
Great. I'm going to stop you right there. We're just going to watch. Countdown is on. 9, 8. Let's listen and watch.
عدم فتح يرجى من جميع مدراء المواقع، يرجى من جميع مدراء المواقع عدم فتح أي موقف لخروج أي سيارة حتى بعد الحفل لما تخرجون كثير من الأمام.
مشاهدينا الكرام كل عام
What a contrast. It's 2016 in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates. I'm Frederica Whitfield. Welcome back to our live coverage here. What a contrast, because on the left-hand side, you've got a 68-story The Address Hotel that is fully engulfed in flames, while just meters away, you've got this spectacular fireworks display taking place at the world's tallest building, the Burj Khalifa. CNN anchor Becky Anderson is there in Dubai. And Becky, given that this is a huge attraction, upwards of 1 million people converge in downtown Dubai to enjoy, celebrate a new year this way with this incredible fireworks display. This fire on the left-hand side of the screen was not going to stop that. Any new information on reported injuries or containment since last time we spoke?
Yeah, so that fire broke out about 2.5 hours ago now. But as you say, the show goes on in Dubai. And thankfully, the fire, which looks so spectacular in the building, which is just very close by, the Address Hotel, which is a 5-star hotel and residential building of 63 stories, 196 rooms and 626 serviced apartments. The fire breaking out on the 20th floor about 2.5 hours ago. Thankfully, there are not as many injuries as you might expect. Let me just go through what we know at this stage. We believe there are between 14 and 16 people who have sustained minor injuries in that fire. One person described as having medium injuries, and one person we believe who had a heart attack as a result of smoke inhalation and or the moment in time and the shock of what happened in that hotel. Now, we are told by authorities that 90% of that fire is now contained within the building. So 90% of the fire contained as far as authorities are concerned. There are numerous fire teams, obviously, now on the spot. We're talking about 1.5 kilometers away from where you have seen one of the most spectacular firework displays anywhere in the world. And let me tell you, this firework display started at midnight. It goes on for about 9 minutes. What you will begin to see is further firework displays down towards the Burj Al Arab, which is the very iconic sail building on the beach in Dubai. And then the fireworks will go all the way along the beach. This is a long 25-minute display, and it continues on while, as you say, just really, hundreds of meters away, there is the Address Hotel, which was, until now at least, engulfed in fire. We've had a lot of eyewitnesses telling us that things were very, very well contained as the operation got underway in order to contain that fire, but clearly an incredibly frightening experience for all of those involved. Sources telling us that it may have been a curtain in a room on the 20th floor that caught on fire, and it was as a result of that that the building went up. So starting on the 20th floor. But as things stand at the moment, you see there on the left of your screen, a fire continuing to blaze, although we are told, as I say, that it is beginning to be contained. They say that they have contained now 90% of it, while on the right-hand side of your screens, as you have rightly pointed out, one of the most spectacular firework displays in the world, which will go on now for some minutes.
Oh, my goodness. So 25 minutes in all, this incredible display on the right-hand side of your screen there in Dubai. Fireworks starting there at the Burj Khalifa, as Becky was just explaining, and then making its way around some of the other more remarkable skyscrapers and buildings there in Dubai. All the while, right there on the left-hand side of your screen, just about a kilometer away, is the Address Hotel still engulfed in flames. So Bernard Carrick, former NYPD commissioner, joining us now. I understand you also have worked in Dubai, so you're familiar with Dubai. All this taking place when we're just less than 9 hours away from a huge display of fireworks and revelry there in New York's Times Square. So, Bernard, to hear Becky Anderson's report and to hear that possibly this fire may have started from a curtain in a room on the 20th floor, and then that fire traveled very quickly. What does your expertise tell you about how this fire may have ignited and why it would spread so quickly, within seconds, according to many eyewitnesses, engulfing this building?
Frederica, I have to say, I don't probably don't agree with that curtain thing.
Really? Why not?
No, because it just the outside of the building, it spread way too fast. I mean, within minutes, it went maybe 20 floors high. And now you have it on the inside of the building, and I know there's reports saying that, they have it contained 90%. But since they've said that, we've seen two major explosions. And what somebody reported as a balcony falling. My concern, looking at it from what we see off the Skype views, is that, if the interior of this building heats up to levels that the structural beams can't take, I'd be worried about an implosion, just like we had in the World Trade Center. And that's what happened. So it depends on how far the fire gets into the building. I know we're looking at pictures from the outside, but if the fire is inside the building, contained on the inside, and spreads throughout the inside of the building, and there's I don't know if that's live or not, but we're seeing another explosion on TV. That's what I'd be worried about, an implosion.
Yes, and yeah, I guess what's really extraordinary, I mean, there are a lot of things that are extraordinary about this, Bernard, but extraordinary, too, that you would have a fire of this magnitude, and the Dubai officials would say the show must go on. Millions of dollars, have been invested in this, in, more than 1.6 tons of fireworks. Last year, it broke the Guinness World Record for the largest fireworks display, and 1 million people are there to enjoy this, and so Dubai officials didn't want to disappoint. So does this speak more to the control that officials had of this fire and their containment and the confidence that they would be able to prevent this massive fire from growing or getting worse, that they could carry on with the revelry here to ring in the new year?
Well, evidently, I mean, that's a decision they have to make based on resources, and I would imagine that was thought out, for an hour or two prior to the fireworks display. My concern right now would be the groundwork that's being done around that hotel. To ensure that all those vehicles were evacuated out of there, that, obviously the building's evacuated.
In terms of a perimeter, then, so what kind of perimeter are you talking about that you would feel comfortable knowing that this is a 63-story, building that takes up a pretty good size of a block? What would be a safe perimeter that would be secured, removing vehicles, et cetera? In New York City, in a New York City environment, you're talking at least 3 or 4 blocks away from that building. You want those vehicles out of there. You don't want any of that stuff to come down on them or the people around it. So, and based on what we're seeing, I hear that 90% stuff, but it just doesn't. That doesn't appear to be the case based on the visuals. And then, what defines containment? Then, I mean, if you hear 90% contained, what does that tell you, and why does that contrast with what you are believing?
Well, usually what you have is something that's controllable. If it was 90% contained, you wouldn't. I don't think you'd see the photos we're seeing, unless this is old stuff. But the stuff that I've seen over the last, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, as they've been saying, 90% contained, it just doesn't appear to be the case.
What do you want to see next as we're continuing to look at the pictures with the fireworks display, but when we are able to, pull up once again the, continuing burning the Address Hotel building, what kind of reassurance do you want to see? Do you want to see air support? Is this not a city or a structure that would best welcome air support? What would bring you reassurance?
You know what, Frederica, it's funny you say that, because on Arabia, the Arab networks, in the tagline, the Arab tagline, they're running a tagline that's basically saying they've called in the National Guard to assist with the hotel fire, in addition to attacking the fire by air. So I don't know if they have helicopters in the area that's going to douse it. I don't know what they're going to do, but my big concern would be worrying about the inside of that building.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned that in your, based on your expertise, you would want to see a 3 to 4 block area enclosed, with this perimeter vehicles out. If this were in your jurisdiction and you were trying to battle this blaze, contain the situation, what would you want to see happen there?
Well, you know what? First and foremost, you want the building evacuated. Mm-hmm. You want everybody out of the building. Just like we did on 9/11 with the World Trade Center. Everybody and anything you can get away from the building, fine. We never anticipated those buildings to collapse, to implode. Mm-hmm. The problem is once the interior of that building heats up, mm-hmm. and the structural beams start to give way. Mm-hmm. You're talking 63 floors. Once a few beams go, the buildings are going to follow. Mm-hmm. And you want everything out of the area before that happens. So that's what we'd be concerned with. And the firefighters, they have an enormous team, I would imagine, fighting this blaze, but the firefighters are going to have a hard time.
Yeah, and perhaps in the earlier stages, before you see this kind of engulfment, and we've heard that the evacuations took place, what would you envision in terms of how do you clear each floor? How do you evacuate people from 63 stories with an active fire, knowing that you can't rely on elevators, using this stairway shaft? I mean, how do you suppose they went about this, especially now that we're hearing from officials that there are 14 reported injuries?
Well, listen, for a fire like this, if they only come out of this with 14 people injured, I'd say they've done extremely well in evacuating the building. They have plans and protocols in place. They do mock drills and fire drills constantly in buildings like this. In Dubai, those kind of plans are in place. We heard some of the other commenters talking about the things that's done in their buildings. This building is no different. The Burj Khalifa, which is one of the hotels that's right along the water where the display is now, they do those kind of drills there as well. So a lot of that goes into effect, a forced evacuation, and then the fire apparatus, the fire personnel get into the buildings and assist.
Mm-hmm. We've heard, Bernard, that there were sprinkler systems. We heard, reportedly that those were underway, but clearly the sprinkler systems are not putting out the fire, at least from the looks of the way the flames are traveling. So is this an instance where they have no other recourse but to just let the building burn out? Or how do you exhaust
what happens, Frederick, if they can get up in the building, from the other side and work the fire, the sprinkler system, we're only speculating based on visuals, based on what we're watching.
Yeah, because we can't see how they're extinguishing, flames, if they're even, trying to do that. We can't see it from this vantage point, but go ahead.
Yeah, so we don't know if the system worked. We don't know if the system failed. And if the system was working and is working, they have to make sure that their pumpers, that the water is getting into that system. It's not cut off anywhere by on the ground. They got to make sure the water is getting into that system to have an impact on the inside. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Bernard. I also have with us, don't go far though, because I may want to bring you back in. Kim Kalata is a CNN producer who is at the hotel. And so, Kim, describe what has been taking place from your vantage point when you have, as a backdrop, this extraordinary fireworks display that continues. Becky was saying it's all of like 25 minutes, which is quite remarkable there in Dubai.
Yeah, for sure. Fireworks are nothing new in Dubai. They certainly do love their fireworks here. The show went on as you saw, and the smoke seems to be billowing black now, which is absolutely a good sign. You've got a lot of the revelers very controlled. The security and the police had really contained this area. There was, from about 4 o'clock in the afternoon today, Dubai time, a real lockdown and roads being closed off, on the public transport being stopped, as to contain the people coming into the area. Of course, not knowing that there was going to be a fire, but that ended up happening and helping the situation here. People are now leaving. I've asked a couple people as they were watching the fireworks display, did they not notice the fire to the left of them, and many of them said that, yeah, it was a fire and it happened 2 hours ago and that they've got it under control. So they continued watching the fireworks display to the right of them.
Wow. And no one seemed to be alarmed or concerned about the explosions, or they felt fairly confident that if officials are telling them it's contained, they go with that?
Yeah, they seemed to be confident of it. I tried to get into the back side of the area, which is the entry to the Dubai Mall. They did close off that perimeter. I heard you were speaking earlier. You could not get entry into the Dubai Mall. They did close that off. People were coming out, and I don't know if they were being evacuated in particular, but they were not letting people in. I tried myself to get in. I am on the back side of the hotel itself. To the right of me is the world's tallest building, the Burj Khalifa, and the fireworks display went on. People are now leaving very calmly, very collected. The police seem to have things in order. There's traffic control, and it went on without a hitch.
Wow. And so, Kim, you heard Bernard Carrick, who was saying, if this were, his city and he were, part of helping to battle the blaze, contain the area, et cetera, he would have, a 3 to 4 block area cordoned off. Are you able to see the perimeter of the area blocked off while this building continues to burn?
I am not. I am on the back side of it. I can see the top of the building, and have been told by police here and officials when I tried to particularly myself get in, they said that area has been closed off. The hotel has been evacuated. They're not letting anybody within that area. So they did contain the area from around the hotel. I am a good mile away from the hotel, of course, because I can see the top of it. It's quite big, and the back side of it. But they did contain that area from all outskirts. I had somebody who I knew was staying in the hotel. They were evacuated about an hour and a half ago, and they are all been pushed out of that area. That has definitely been contained. And on the opposite side, where we are in front of the Burj Khalifa, there are police moving people out, and people seem to be moving along quite well.
Okay, Kim, thank you so much. It's been extraordinary to see the differences here of these screens, the opulence to the right with this extraordinary 25-minute fireworks display from the world's tallest building to the left, which is just about 1 kilometer away across the lake there, the Address Hotel. That's what it's called for those of you who are just now joining us. The Address Hotel in downtown Dubai, which was fully booked. It's a 5-star luxury hotel, residence, restaurants, a shopping mall, 63 stories tall, fully engulfed by flames, as you see right there. It continued to burn as the fireworks display got underway at the stroke of midnight there. It is 2016 in Dubai.